We're talking about peanut making. And the thing about peanut making is that there are two methods you can use. You can decide to go with the egg method and can decide to go to the water method. So we're going to be using 2 cups of groundnut, 1 cup of groundnut for the water method and 1 cup of groundnut for the egg method. So with that said, that means in total 2 cups of groundnut. Now there are different kinds of groundnut in market. You see this color, this light brown groundnut is what I recommend for peanut making. Now there's this dark brown. I don't recommend this one.
And there's also one that is multicolored that I do not recommend. This is the one I recommend. This light brown one is sweeter, easier to coat, and the light shade actually makes it look like peanut color.
So I'm going to be adding 1 cup here.
Then I will be adding my second cup of groundnut. Good. So the next thing I'll be doing is adding salt to this to give the groundnut a good taste, to make it tasty. Then after this, I will be adding hot water. So I'm adding hot water. This is called bleaching. We are going to be leaving the hot water for 5 minutes. So after leaving hot water, we are going to sieve this out. You can see why it's called bleaching. You see the water is colored. Then I'm going to be pouring this in my oven tray. Pick up any dirt I can find, spread it out. You can either sun dry this or pop it in your oven for about 20 minutes to dry. And I prefer putting it in my oven because it's less time consuming.
Or you can try to leave it under the sun, okay, depending on which option you prefer. But right now I'm going to be popping this inside the oven for 20 minutes, and at intervals I'm going to be shaking to make sure everywhere is dry, okay.
So this is after leaving the oven for 20 minutes to fully dry. You can hear the way it sounds. So let's start with the egg method. I'm going to be pouring 1 cup of groundnut in an empty bowl. Okay, then I'm going to be breaking my egg. I'll be using just 1 egg. So in this egg cup, we are going to be adding sugar. I'll be using 3 tablespoons of sugar. So this is our first spoon, second spoon, and third spoon. So next I'll be adding is my salt, 1/4 teaspoon of salt inside this cup. Then I'll be adding flavoring, vanilla essence and milk flavor to quench the smell of our egg. So I'll only be using 1 cover for vanilla essence. Then I'll be using milk flavor, just 2 drops. So I'm going to shake everything together so that the sugar, salt, every single thing can melt well in the egg. I'll be using 1/2 cup of flour. Number 1 cup and 1/2 cup. So I'll be sieving my flour. It's time to work to our groundnut. I'll be adding a little bit of flour into the groundnut bowl. Very little. Know that it's just to give the groundnut a drier feel. Next thing I'll be doing is adding my egg. I'll only be using 2 spoons of egg at a time because the groundnut I'm using is not much. If you're using a lot of groundnut, of course, you can use more than 2 spoons at a time. So I'm just going to be shaking this together. The next thing I'll be doing is adding my flour. So I'm going to shake this together also. Make sure the flour has incorporated the egg. Then sieve. You sieve into the flour bowl. There will be some that will be hanging on the bowl. Just sieve it into the flour bowl. Then I'll be pouring it into the empty peanut bowl and repeating the process. That's egg, shake together, then flour, shake together. You'll see some joining together. Make sure you just use your hands to separate. So I'm just going to pour it into the sieve. Separate anyone that is hanging together. Then you pour into your empty peanut bowl. Now you see some particles underneath your sieve. Please do not pour it inside the peanut bowl. Make sure to throw them away. And you can go ahead and repeat the process again and again and again. So these are well coated egg method peanuts after going about 6 times. Now let's go ahead and work to our water method. This is 1 cup of groundnut. Then we are going to be sieving our flour. 1.5 cup of flour. That's 1.5 cup.
Okay, for this water method, I'm going to be adding baking powder to my flour, and that was because we're using water. there's a bigger tendency for the peanut to be small in size, while the egg method, the egg makes the peanut, a little bit bigger.
And that's because egg is naturally a rising agent. But for this water method, since we are not using egg, we need a rising agent. So we'll be using half teaspoon of baking powder. We'll just add it to our flour. So we're going to shake everything together. And for our water, we're going to be using 1/4 cup of water. Just pour it in a cup. In our cup, we're going to add our sugar. We'll be using 3 tablespoons of sugar. That's 1, 2, and a third spoon. Then for salt, we'll be using 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Kindly note that I'm not adding flavorings to this one because there's no egg involved. So I'm just going to shake everything together. So I'm going to start again using my flour first. Then I'll be using 2 spoons of my water solution. Then shake together. Then I'll be adding my flour, just like how we did for the egg method, the same process. Then sieve into our flour bowl. So pour it into our empty bowl. Then repeat the process. Water, flour, sieve, then pour in. Remove anyone that is joining together. And then you keep repeating the process. Water method, egg method. So the next thing we are going to do is fry them separately. Make sure your oil is very hot, then add your peanuts. We are frying the egg method first. So I'm just going to allow it to get brown. It fries on quite a high heat. So once it's brown, we remove. Now these are final outcome for the egg method. I'm going to be frying the one we used water. So the same way, just put it into your oil. Then you keep stirring until it gets brown. Then you remove. And these are final outcome for the water method.
So we're done with peanut making, and okay, we made 2 different kind of peanuts.
So let's do a little bit of analyzing. The one that uses egg is actually bigger, and that's because of the egg factor, while the one that uses water is a little bit more crunchy, but they are both extremely nice. And I always advise that you're allowed to cool down before you eat so that you can enjoy it and so it will not be feeling soft. I hope you try this out. Thanks for watching.